What up, tubers? I'm just going to make a quick video on this 2012 Subaru Forester. So what happened was, originally I had an oil leak coming from underneath, and I had an idea what it was. It was coming from just below the turbo, and I thought it's probably an accumulation of oil because I don't have an oil catch can. Anyway, I pulled off this guard, and so the oil was leaking out of this pipe here, and I pulled it off. That pipe goes to the intercooler. It goes from turbo to intercooler. Pulled it off. Sure enough, that was where the oil was pulling up. But then what happened was the oil must have like petrified the clamp, and it pretty much fell to pieces. I didn't really plan on shooting this video, so I'll add some photos. I took some photos along the way. So then I was in a conundrum because I couldn't get the pipe to clamp back on, so I had to rig something up. So I did a bit of a rig, and it held for a while, but then when I was driving, I gave it shit, and because of all the extra boost, it popped off, and I had to limp home. Car sounded sick, the turbo was whistling, but I had to come up with another plan. Went to Super Cheap. They got stuff all parts. They're good for nothing. So what happened was, this little part here is what went onto the turbo, and then the pipe had all these little bits, little plastic bits that went over like that, and then a clamp went on top of that, but all these little plastic bits had snapped off. So what it did was, I got some intercooler pipe. Sorry about the shit video, but that's alright. And I had that in there like that, and then I clamped that onto the pipe side, and I clamped that onto the turbo side. But of course, because there was no rib on there, again, when it got high boost, it just popped off. So what I had to do was, I had to actually cut the pipe down. To take this pipe out, I went on the net, and there's quite a few people that have had this problem, so I thought I'd make this video to help some people. Just undo that bolt there. There's a little bolt just in here, and then that whole pipe slides out. So what I did was, so that's an example of, I don't know if you can see that. It's an example of what it was like on the other end. So what I pretty much had to do on the other end was cut this whole bit off, but you got to be careful to leave a little rib there so that the clamp's got something to sit on, you know, when you put the new hose on. And I basically deleted that whole bit. I got this, what is this? It's an intercooler pipe. It's, I think it was like 45mm. And I've just cut that section out. Very well. I cut that section out, and I've bolted it in. I got these good brackets, because these brackets are shit, but then of course I bought them a little bit too small, so I could fit one on that side, but I had to put this old one on this side, so it should be alright though. So it's got that nice little rib in there, and then this whole part on this side, that's the turbo in there, and it's got a rib there, so that should hold alright. So I'll take it for a spin and see how I go. And I'll put some photos after this with a bit of an explanation. Hopefully it makes sense. If you got any questions, just shoot it to us. By the way, I hit up Subaru for a new one of these, and they want $370, which is a piss take. It's a bit of plastic, so I'm pretty sure that'll hold pretty well. If not, you can even buy like generic intercooler kits off eBay that come with like all stainless pipe and then silicon bends, and you can sort of make up your own pipe. But I'm going away on holidays tomorrow, so I had to make it happen pretty quick. Anyway, I'll take it for a spin and let you know how I go. just took it for a spin, gave it a fair thrashing, and it's all good. So let's have a quick look. Yeah, looks like it's held pretty well. So I'll probably just re-torque them just to make sure, and I'll chuck this burning guard back on, and she'll be apples. Right, I got the guard back on now. So she's all done. Next job is to install a oil catch can so that oil doesn't keep leaking at the bottom. And I've got to replace this little pulley on the aircon as well. It sounds like a bearing's gone in that. It still works, but I don't want that to seize up and snap my belt. So stay tuned for those ones. I'm gonna go inside and crack a bevy, and I'll put this video together, and I'll go through the photos and sort of explain what I did. Oh, and just for the record, I got this. This was the silicone tube that I ended up using. I got that from Autobarn. It was 45mm by, I think it was, I've got it here, by 127mm, and that was like $10. Whereas the shit that didn't work, that one there, that's actually a reducer, but that was 50 by 63mm by 127mm, and that was $30 from Super Cheap. Super Cheap are a bloody rip-off. They're not super cheap, that's for sure. And then one of them was $6 from Super Cheap, and then that one, which is what you want to use, they're a lot better, and that was like $7 from Autobarn. I'm not sponsored, but I will accept sponsorships. Autobarn. Alright, cheers. So you can see here, this is sort of what the pipe looked like prior to falling apart, and my plan was to just sort of place it back together and slip the blue silicone back over the top and clamp it back on. This is where the pipe fits the turbo. Now this here is after I've shaved the pipe down. So just have a good look, and you'll see I've left that bit of a lip there just to make sure that the clamp will grab. If you don't have that rib, then anything that's pressurized, air, water, it will just blow off. This here is the pipe clamped back into the turbo. All seems to be running pretty well. If you've got any questions,